So how closely are you working with the Ministry of Education to ensure that this happens not just at the tertiary level? Because most people always assume that you should have it only in the universities, but it wouldn't be a bad idea if you start as early as even primary school, letting the children understand what it really means to be in the banking profession, to be a banker, or to be part of the banking system.
As a country, we have what we call FSS 2020-20 now, Financial System Strategy. One, that is, which is being anchored by the Central Bank of Nigeria. And one of the strands of FS 2020 is financial literacy, which the Central Bank, together with members of the Bankers Committee and our institute, carry to the secondary school to teach financial literacy to the young and upcoming ones. Then we also have some collaborations with the National Universities Commission and the National Board for Technical Education. That is arms of the Federal Ministry of Education, to ensure that what we have as banking education for the tertiary institutions in Nigeria are in line, in tandem with what the future is saying about banking, and to also have a meeting of mind between the regulators and ourselves in the area of banking in Nigeria.
So how often does that happen, Professor?
For example, we have what we call educators, banking educators conference, which the National Universities Commission and National Board for Technical Education have supported tremendously every 2 years. Then we dialogue on a regular basis. We also have what we call a linkage arrangement with about 45 universities and polytechnics, where we infuse professional training into their academic curriculum. Then they come out with BSc, ACIB, which is our flagship qualification, or MSc ACIB, like the type that is happening in the Caleb University, in Bako University and some other places.
Okay, but still back to this particular institute, the World Conference of Banking Institutes that Nigeria is going to be hosting. How does the theme connect to banking profession and practice of developing countries like ours?
Yes, in developing countries, things are changing very fast. You know, in the developed economy, we can see that they already have a template that has stood the test of time. But in developing nations, because we still try to see how we can benchmark best practices all over the world. So things are still changing. So banking education must keep pace with those changes. In a country like Nigeria, we must educate those who will be future leaders in this industry what the expectations will be, what changes will come into the industry, what new practices will come into the industry. And these are areas authorities, as regulators, as operators, as academia, will be talking to Nigerians, will be talking to the whole world, will be talking to all the participants about during this conference.
Yeah, because you see, there's that general feeling that banks in many developing countries are not doing enough to promote economic development because of their extreme commercial orientation. Will the conference really be looking at this issue? Because we've got about over 1,000 banking professionals, not to mention economists as well. And we also see that the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, is expected to also be at this particular conference. So will this be an issue that will be focused on?
Yeah, it's an opportunity for all stakeholders in banking and finance, in Nigeria in particular, to come together and rub minds. And I must acknowledge the kind of support and the kind of interest already generated at all levels, from presidency to our state governors, to the operators, regulators in the industry, and to the academic community. Banking is a service, and the whole essence of banking is to promote growth and development. So if this is not happening, then it means there are gaps, there is disconnect somewhere. So at every opportunity, we must discuss how banks can contribute meaningfully to growth and development. Nigeria as an example. So what will be happening is to look at those areas where there are gaps at the moment, to look at those issues that have been militating against the performance of banks in promoting growth and development, and to also call the attention of other stakeholders who should also partner with banks to ensure that banks play their traditional roles of promoting growth and development in an environment like this. So these are some of the issues that will be discussed at the various sessions that will be coming up during this conference. And of course, those that will be leading discussions, they are practitioners, as operators and regulators that have seen it all. And they have successfully piloted the affairs of banks in developed economies to where they are today. And Nigeria can learn a lot from what has happened in those other climes. So these are some of the takeaway points. These are some of the quick wins we believe Nigeria will be able to reap by hosting this particular event.
So, generally speaking now, and taking a look at Nigeria's banking industry, what would you say is the future of banking and finance? Do you see that in the very short term looking very positive? Your outlook, is it positive? Or is it mixed for the short term and even for the long term?
Like I said, banking is service to the economy. Whenever the global economy is challenged, the domestic economy is challenged, the banking industry as an arm of the economy is also challenged. But come to think of it, like one of the leading early economists said, Mr. Friedman, that because banking deals in one commodity, which is money, and money matters in whatever we do, banking and banks will continue to be relevant. In fact, somebody said that banking will become more relevant even than banks as time goes on. So these are some of the challenges that may come. And you will notice that as of today, there are non-bank financial institutions. In fact, there are those who are not even financial institutions that are now going into one kind of banking practice or the other, like mobile banking and so on and so forth. So banking is very, very critical. So one of the things we must prepare the next generation for is those who will be practicing banking and may not be banks. Those who will be carrying out some banking functions, and the economy, stakeholders will see the activities as relevant to the economy, to the growth and development, yet they don't hold banking license. So how will that happen? A
strong evolution is in the offing.
That is part of rethinking the future of banking education and banking practices. So how are we prepared? How do we prepare the coming generation for that kind of thing? So those are the areas of focus, areas of concentration. And of course, something will also happen. In Nigeria, we want to put it on record and also achieve it as the edition where the global standard for banking education is launched. So we want to have a board for banking education across the globe. And we want to launch that board in Nigeria come this edition.
That's an excellent way for us to end the conversation. Professor Segun Ajibola, President and Chairman of Council, Chartered Institute of Bankers, as well as Dean, College of Postgraduate Studies. It's been a pleasure having you on the program.
Thank you very much.
We're back after now. Stay with us.